Hello, everybody. Welcome to an episode of A Cup of Joe. I'm your host, Joe, and today we're going to try to get back on track. I know I said I would do it earlier this afternoon, but things kind of got away from me. But the good news is, we're actually going to have a topic today. So, I was thinking about what that topic can be. It was something that I've been kind of thinking about for like the last week or two. And that's titles and labels, and how we apply those to people and how it ultimately affects them. It's something that I heard a long time ago, as far as, it was a message that I heard quite a while ago, as far as, what's how we treat people and how the things that we say to somebody can affect relationships. Let's rewind a little bit. For instance, with my son's mother, Vanessa, when we split, it was really rough, for me emotionally and mentally. And there was a lot of stuff going on in my head, the anger, the hurt, everything else. And for me, I turned to the church and whatnot for that. But I had heard a sermon or a message, that was basically talking about, it was the Good Samaritan, and how, we may be put in positions where we can't help but break, a commandment or a sin, or, commit a sin or whatever. But really went into the Samaritans, how the Jews and the Samaritans were at the time. And basically, like, the Jews hated the Samaritans to the point that they couldn't even say their name. And basically the message was brought to a head as saying, like, well, is there somebody in your life who you can't say their name? You give them a title, or, and obviously the first thing is like ex-wife or ex, or, any numerous, titles that we apply to people. And the thing is like, like he said, like, it strips away their humanity, and, it strips away everything that they are. When you apply a title to somebody, it doesn't matter about anything else they've done. Like, this is who they are. Like, for instance, let's say that you were in a relationship and you end up breaking up, and you have an ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend, whatever, and they're still part of your life, and you're hanging out and stuff like that. And if you introduce somebody, or you keep referring to them as your ex, how, like, in their mind, how do you think they're going to perceive that relationship? Are they going to be receptive of, this is somebody who's in my life, this is somebody who's my friend? No, I mean, because ultimately, like, not all the time, but usually exes carry the connotation of negative, versus a positive. So, and ultimately it's like, yeah, like, it's, this person's a part of my life, but they're my ex, so ultimately it's going to come with all that baggage. But from when I heard that, I basically made, a mental note in my head that whenever I would get angry, especially with towards, things that are going on with Vanessa, that the anger get a lot the best of me more than once, more than I can count. But that I made mental note that I would never speak. Okay, it's not, I can't say I didn't speak negatively, because I did, but I was never going to give her a title. She's always going to be Vanessa, my son's mother, what have you. Always in a positive light as far as what I refer to her as. Over time, like, when I started thinking of her like, this is who she is, like, it started to heal those wounds. It started to, get better on that front. And to the point where it was like, 4 or 5 years later, it was like, hey, I'm sorry. And then it was a few weeks after that, I spoke to, her husband, and I was able to apologize to him, and now we're all best friends. So, And the thing is like, I think it, for me, like, it comes down to that I've never referred to her with this negative connotation or this title. I always used her name, or I did say my son's mother, but that's a pretty, to me, that's a positive, because she is. So the same thing with Eric. Eric is Aiden's stepdad. So, and I think I've tried to do that with everybody. Like, I don't try to give people titles. And I think when it comes down to when we're looking at everything, as a package, this is who this person is. Something can happen. You have to be careful, because some titles are, I guess, appropriate, but at the same time, like, I want to say that people are made up more than what they're, what the titles that they're given to. Some titles may be, thrown onto somebody for something that happened years and years ago. And the thing is people change. People can become better versions of themselves than they were 10 years ago. And I think a lot of people forget that, especially in today's culture with, this whole cancel culture and everything else that's going on. It's like, oh, look what I found. Like, this person did 25 years ago. Okay, well, let's think honestly here. 10 years ago, were you the same person you were now? No, you're not. Like, 10 years ago, what was I? I'm not the same person. Like, I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot. And for people to be held accountable for things they did years and years and years and years and years ago, like something they might not even remember, I just find completely and utter ridiculous. Like, what it is like, what have you been doing now? Like, what difference are you making now? This idea that we need to dig up dirt on people, I just find completely ludicrous. Now, obviously, there are times where, there is things that are necessary, like, predators and stuff like that, and I'm not giving them a pass, but at the same time, like, there's a lot we don't understand in that area, and again, they're also a person, that struggle with certain things. And again, I'm not giving them a pass. Trust me. That's not what I'm saying. But if I'm looking at, we're all a human race, I am someone who believes in second chances. So, and I believe that everybody is deserving of a second chance. Should you be cautious of people? Yes. But at the same time, we seem to be living in a society now where you can go murder somebody. That's okay. But if you kick a dog, well, you deserve to be, rung up a pole. So, and I think we just have our priorities askew. And no, I'm not saying you should go kick a dog, but I'm just saying, ending a life and is, to me, far worse. And is just my opinion on that. But yeah, I don't know. I want to caution people, when it comes to using titles when they're referring to people. Am I your friend? Then I'm your friend. Treat me like your friend. I'm Joe. Treat me like Joe. So, yeah, I don't know. And that's kind of like my challenge to you guys. Is there, I'll have the same challenge as before to me. Like, is there somebody in your life who you've given a title? Like, like, forgiveness is a funny thing. Even if you don't feel you did anything wrong, the fact, if you're able to be like, look, I'm sorry, even if you didn't do anything, but there can be healing, in that aspect. And that's, that's a pretty amazing thing. So, I'm not saying that I have, the secret to everything, but I do know that, I try I try not to hold on to anger. I do hold on to hurt more so than anger, where I do let wounds fester. I do bury things. It hasn't, to be honest, as far as burying in the explosion of anger, that actually hasn't been. It's been a while, so I think I'm doing better at dealing with that and identifying when the train is about to derail. So, but we all have those times. We all have those issues. And so my challenge is that, like, hey, look through your life. Is there somebody that perhaps you want to reconnect with, or somebody who you miss, or somebody who perhaps you've given a title and you stripped away everything that is good about them based on this title that you've given them? Has it impacted their life? Like, you can change that going forward. Especially if they're still in your life. So, but the power of forgiveness is a pretty big thing. It's not easy. It's really not, and it takes time. It's not like, oh, hey, I forgive you, I'm sorry, and then everything is fine and dandy. No, it's not. It takes time. Time to heal, and time to move on. But once you achieve that, it is a glorious thing. To be set free from that. And time does heal all wounds. And it starts ultimately with forgiveness. And if you did do something, you need to be able to, forgive yourself as well. Being able to forgive yourself is a big thing. So yeah, I know it's a touchy subject. Um, I guess I just come from a different viewpoint when it comes to how I see people. I believe there's good in everybody. I mean, unless you're a sociopath or a psychopath, but even then, there's a reason as to why you're that way. Like, but there's still going to be something. There could always be something there. So, rather than be filled with hate and anger and everything else, like, we can try to make ourselves better. We can make others better by being better ourselves. Some people are just going to be douches. All right, more power to them. Forgive and move on. You don't ever have to talk to them again. But you did your part. So, and maybe years down the road, maybe they'll realize, like, oh, I was kind of a douche. Maybe I should back off a little bit. So, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I challenge you guys today. If there's somebody who you've established a title on, why don't you review that and see if there's something you can do differently. Like, I believe there's always room for forgiveness, no matter what's happened, no matter how grievous the transgression, no matter how terrible it is. You do have the power to forgive. It's regardless of whether you want to or not. But should they also, punish what they did? Yes. More so, like murder and whatnot. So I think, coming to mind, there was that police officer in Texas who walked into the wrong apartment and killed the man that was living there, and I think it was the brother in the courtroom, who basically walked up to her and gave her a hug and was like, "I forgive you." Like, what a like, how can, that's the thing, is that, like, that to me is just amazing, because that, my friends, is what it's about. Like, yeah, she done fucked up. Regardless of if it was a racist, or regardless if it was on purpose, whatever. Um, the fact that he was able to do that, to me, speaks more volumes than anything. And I think we as a society need to learn to forgive, and stop trying to cancel people for things that have happened years and years and years and years ago. Especially people that are trying to do good now, maybe perhaps trying to make up for what they did. So, I don't know. That's pretty much all I got today. So, anyways, guys, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I will see you on Monday for another cup of Joe. Next week, it's goal time. We gotta get going. Gotta get walking. So, get more on a solid schedule of work and walking and recording, and I look forward to transforming in front of you guys. And I want, I've said this before, guys, like I want to be able to have these hard discussions. If you don't agree with me, fine. That's you know don't be afraid to say something. I'm not going to sit here, I'll try to defend my position, but I'm not going to sit here and talk down to you either. Like, I want to be able to have open discussions. I want to be able to have, the kind of discussions that we should have between, one another. Like, how are we going to learn, or how are we going to better ourselves if we can't even have these conversations? If you don't believe in God, fine, I do. But you know what? Like, it's not my place to force you to believe that. Like, a lot of my belief systems are, and how I act are built on that, sure. But even as an atheist, you still have, some of the same morals, some of the same things. Like, even if we don't agree that God exists, okay, fine with me, whatever. You believe what you want to believe. But I mean, that's just one example. But you shouldn't be afraid to talk about it. You shouldn't be afraid to talk about your faith. Oh, I don't talk about religion or politics. Well, not talking about politics has got us into quite of a bit of a bind, huh? Without us being able to discuss these things, we're going to be afraid. We're going to be afraid of what other people think. We're going to be afraid of, you know, I don't want to live our lives in fear. I don't want to live our lives of not being able to speak, of not being able to say, what's on our mind, within reason, of course. So yeah, really, that's what I got today. So I hope that, again, you all have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you on Monday. Give somebody a hug. Change somebody's life this weekend. Buy someone a cup of coffee. So, all right. Well, my friends, may all your stories be glad ones, and may all your roads be smooth and short. Until Monday, I'll see you around.